Then I will call this meeting of the City of Battle Creek Planning Commission to order. I will ask for the staff to note the attendance for today. Thank you. We will start off with the approval of the minutes. I also wanted to point out Commissioner Godfrey did send his regrets for today. Did let us know, were there any other attendance notations for today?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna
mayor also.
And the mayor also. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I will then move on to our next agenda item, approval of the minutes. Also noting on the capital improvement plan that I was in attendance for that meeting as well as the regular planning commission meeting. So I will ask for approval of the minutes with that addition.
Are we making one motion for both of these?
2 motions, please.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the December 14th, 2022 meeting minutes as presented with the, or yours was on the second piece?
Yes, on the second one.
Sorry. So as presented.
Support.
So I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Newman, and a motion to approve the minutes of December 14th by Commissioner Newman and support by Commissioner Springer. Are there any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next up, approval of the minutes for the capital improvement plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the capital improvement plan for the 2023 to 2024 to 2028 to 2029 meeting minutes as presented with the caveat that Lynn Ward Gray was present at that meeting.
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Newman and supported by Commissioner Springer to approve the capital improvement plan minutes. With that correction, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion has carried. Moving on to our next agenda item is correspondence. Was there any additional correspondence?
No correspondence.
Thank you. Moving on to additions or deletions to the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No additions or deletions.
Thank you. That moves us to our public hearing item 6A, zoning ordinance amendment A0123. I will call on staff for the report.
Good evening. There are a number of proposed amendments for the zoning code on your agenda tonight. Most of them are typographic errors. Some are modifications to clarify the intention of various regulations. The remaining proposed changes are intended to better accommodate improvements to residential properties and to create a more friendly...
May I ask you to get closer to that mic, please? Thank you.
Others are proposed to create a more business-friendly community that will help generate economic development. Since we have a full agenda tonight, staff will highlight key changes proposed and then answer any questions that the Planning Commission will have. We are requesting that all questions be reserved until staff, after staff completes the presentation. With that, I will start with the first highlight, the purpose of the scope. Chapter 1230. This includes proposed definitions. The main definition that was added to the code was blade sign. This is a type of sign that is really common in walkable areas, especially in the downtown area. There were other definitions added to the code that are meant to clarify regulations that are currently in the code. Zoning districts and maps, chapter 1240. This includes proposed changes related to uses in the zoning district. After using the updated zoning code for quite some time now, during the day-to-day activities of the planning division, staff recognized some of the uses should be removed from certain districts, other uses reviewed under special use permits that could be reviewed under permitted uses, especially ones that have consistently been approved with no conditions. Otherwise, these recommended changes to each of these districts are listed in your cover sheet for convenience. It shows each district and what uses are recommended be added and which ones are recommended to be deleted, and also which special use permits within each district are recommended for each district. The next one would be supplemental zoning district standards for chapter 1250. This is mainly the form-based code district. It includes proposed changes that are intended to make design guidelines less restrictive for all types of T districts, especially the T4 and T3 districts that are located outside the downtown development boundary that was established in the downtown development plan. By doing this, it would create a more business-friendly community while still maintaining the walkability that is intended with the form-based code. Let's see, the general provisions, this is chapter 1260. It includes proposed language to reduce restrictions for existing accessory buildings and fences. This is primarily for residential and commercial properties that have a street bordered on two different sides of the property, as in like a corner lot or a through lot. What it will do, it will allow more use of the property and without having a negative impact on the surrounding properties. Signs, chapter 1263. This includes one major amendment, which is to add the blade signs. Blade signs, again, are used where in the downtown area where there's primarily pedestrian traffic. They're not as visible from automobile, but they're really geared more for pedestrian traffic, where they're walking down the sidewalk and they can see it vertically from the building. Nonconformities, chapter 1270. There's a proposed amendment requirements for regulating nonconforming properties to allow more flexibility so that properties that are nonconforming in the commercial districts can improve their properties until they redevelop in the future. Administrative procedures, chapter 1281. The key change that was made to this chapter was to add more definition to trash enclosures. We had the definitions or description of trash enclosure in the fence ordinance, but it was very vague and it needed to be there. However, it needed to be clarified as to what screening meant and where they could be located. And that was added in chapter 1281. Unless Susan or Travis has anything to add, we can go ahead and answer any questions that the Planning Commission may have.
I'll now call this public hearing to order for zoning ordinance amendment A01-23. Are there any additional comments from the public on this zoning ordinance amendment? Any commission comment? Commissioner Newman?
I would just like to say great job on the staff for bringing this up, looking at this. I know that it was fairly new and there were some things that needed to be revised, and I appreciate the staff's time and efforts to go through and work on these revisions, so thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others? Yes, Commissioner.
I have a clarifying question. If you look, it's going to be item number 52, section 1251. if you look at the solution column, the very last sentence states open to public. Does that mean operational, or is that open to public as in everyone?
That's a good question. There is a new definition that was added for libraries to clarify that, and if you give me a second, I can pull that up. Or I can have one of my colleagues pull that up. It is intended to be open to more libraries and not just necessarily open to the public, but let me read this definition.
I have it here if you'd like. Library means a library that is
Thank you.
established by the state, a county, city, township, village, school district, or other local unit of government or authority, or combination of local units of government and authorities, or any private library that is open to the public.
Thank you.
So then, because this sentence states, in addition, clarifying private, public schools and libraries. So I would assume that that language would then go to schools as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? All right, we'll move for request a motion to approve. This to move forward to the city commission, is that correct?
I'll make a motion that the zoning ordinance amendment number A0123 gets the approval to move on to the city commission for final approval.
Support.
I'm sorry, who made this support? Okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Newman and supported by Commissioner Springer. They're fighting for that. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, please take a roll call vote.
Okay. Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Springer?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
The motion has carried. Thank you. Now consider that public hearing closed. We'll now move on to special use permit S0123. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Okay, special use permit S01-23, petition from Thanos LLC requesting a special use permit for property located at 492 Southwest Capitol Avenue. The request is for an adult use marijuana retail center. Property is zoned T3 Neighborhood Commercial District pursuant to Section 1240.13, Section 1251.24, and 1281.05 of the zoning code.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing on special use permit S01-23 open. Who will be giving the staff report today?
I will on this one. This, again, is for 492 Southwest Capitol Avenue for an adult use marijuana retailer establishment. Some of you may remember that this facility came before the Planning Commission last, I want to say late last winter, for a medical license. This is separate from that in that this is strictly for the adult use retail license. The applicant right now is proposing site improvements that include internal building rehab, some cosmetic improvements to the exterior of the building, resealing and restriping of the parking area, some new landscaping, and a fence to provide screening from the adjacent residential uses. This item, if you look in your staff report at the recommendations section, does have a number of conditions recommended with it. Most of those conditions are either our standard conditions that we attach to pretty much all special uses, or they were ones that were included with the medical special use application last year and carried over to this year. So again, the addition of that fence that was included on that site plan that you saw before, the additional landscaping, the striping of the parking lot, and the resealing. So again, we want to obviously make sure that those improvements are made the way that they were proposed last year and the way that they're being proposed this year. You'll notice also in there as well, there is a recommendation in there if the Planning Commission has concern about the applicant's ability to become operational with this development, that the Planning Commission consider possibly putting a deadline on becoming operational. I know multiple commissioners, I think in the past, have had concerns about operations or have had concerns about facilities receiving approvals and licenses without actually becoming operational. As a part of the special use process, the Planning Commission has within its authority the ability to apply conditions to any use that it would recommend approval for. And so if the commission has concerns about that, as staff, we would recommend that you consider deadline on them becoming operational. Other than that, I will turn it over to the commission for comments, and the applicant, I believe, is here as well to speak on the item.
Thank you, staff. Is the applicant here? I understand. Thank you. If you could address the commission, please give us your name, address, and connection to this petition.
Yes,
this
ma'am.
Application.
My name is Christopher Amori. Address is 2207 Orchard Lake Road, Sylvan Lake, Michigan 48320. I am here on behalf of the applicant, which is Thanos LLC, as well as the owner of the property, 492 Capitol Avenue LLC.
Thank you.
And then just in terms of kind of the general question, that's kind of what has been our delays, and I'm sure that's a question that's going to be asked. So we do acknowledge that there has been delays in even the past couple of years, and you know, the cannabis market in general has become saturated. We thought we had agreement with another operator that was going to come into this facility, and you know, we invested probably close to $30,000 within the past 4 or 5 months in putting together engineering plans, putting together site plans based off of the new ordinance. And you know, we have submitted a building permit to kind of begin our demolition on this project. Part of the reason we did not proceed with that medical special adult use is the medical market's not really there anymore. So what we decided to do, since we were coming to our deadlines in terms of the Part A deadline, in terms of our special land use deadline, we decided to focus solely on our adult use special land use. With that, we do have a local operator who has signed a lease with us, contingent on this special land use. In that, we have, you know, like I said, we do have plans that are ready to go. You know, I've spoken with Travis. Like I said, we've talked about our building permits. We've talked about being ready to start our demolition. At this point, you know, like I said, we acknowledge that there's been delays, but like I said, we're ready to kind of go full steam ahead. I am a new member of our team, and I've kind of been brought in to kind of push these projects going forward. You know, we have this property, and you know, the owner has looked into potential non-marijuana uses. It looks like at this point, you know, the real value is on the marijuana side. And we do think we have, you know, like I said, a strong operator, HOS Investments, who has a dispensary in Battle Creek, is looking for a larger footprint in the area. And with that, you know, where we think we have a good project and a strong position moving forward. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
And just as it relates to the conditions that were outlined by the staff, are you comfortable with all of those?
Yeah, I've spoke with our council, and we are comfortable with the conditions that are on the Planning Commission through Travis and the other members of the staff.
Thank you. I'll also turn to council when making any motions to approve this, do they need to specify any of the suggested recommendations, or do they have, are they able to just make the motion with the suggested recommendations of the staff?
The staff has set forth a list of recommendations, so if the person making the motion desires that all of those be incorporated, they could simply reference those. I think there's one specifically about a time frame on there. If the person making the motion wishes to designate a specific time frame or a different time frame, that should be articulated in addition. Does that help?
Yes, that does. Is there a recommendation on time frame in this case?
Some of this may just require a little bit of a conversation between the commission and the applicant to see what both of you feel would be fair. I feel like somewhere between 4 and 6 months after approval, so pending approval from the city commission, because obviously the city commission is the final approving body. I feel like somewhere between 4 and 6 months would be appropriate, but again, that may be something that you all want to discuss with the applicant to see what you feel is fair.
Just generally in terms of, the fact that we have to go in front of the city commission in terms of, I want to say potential delays in the construction, because there is going to be construction involved on the site. And I was hoping for something around about 1 year, 12 months. And I think in that time we could make this project work.
Thank you for that. I'll ask if there are any additional questions from the commissioners. All right, sit tight, hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any comments from the public? Hearing none. All right. Then I will entertain a motion on this action agenda item.
I will make a motion to approve the special use permit S0123 with the staff recommendations in a 12-month time period for completion.
Thank you.
Before the support, I'm seeing a hand over there.
We need a support.
I need a support.
I'm just listening for a
Oh,
second.
you're just looking for support? Okay. I'm listening for one. I'm looking for support.
Yep. Support by Commissioner O'Donnell.
It's been moved by Commissioner Newman and supported by Commissioner O'Donnell. Is there any further discussion?
I have discussion.
Yes, please go forward.
We have a year that's gone by already.
Can you talk into the mic, please? Thank you.
I personally think that a 6-month time frame is something that I would like to see. Is that something you can work with?
I just think based off of our construction, we will going to have to go in there, and there is some demo work that needs to be done. There is some outside work, some striping. We've had construction delays on other projects. So I think a year kind of accounts for that delay as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions? Thank you, Commissioner Hughes.
I have a slight concern with the fact that Southwestern is, to my knowledge, within 1,000 feet to the north. I know the school system currently isn't using that facility, but if there were to be any future housing development or such, I wouldn't want to limit any scoring that they may be a part of as far as state financing. So I see a concern there with that.
So,
I guess the question is Southwestern actually 1,000 feet from this?
I can take a look at the GIS really quickly while you guys are still in discussion.
okay, thank you. And it looks like Susan might have a response.
If I recall, are you talking about the middle school and properties? I know the middle school with its related properties, I can't tell you to the building specifically, but the sports field that's just to the south of it is within 1,000 feet.
And I guess the question is,
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, how is that counted? Like driving a car, walking, flying bird's eye? Like,
Oh, that's,
I'm wondering for like the
Yeah.
grant purposes and stuff, because like there's every single one of those can be different. Edge of property line, to edge of building to building, like that could make a big difference.
Right. And I am not aware of what that would be. I just wouldn't want to position this for an additional barrier when I feel housing would be the more important thing.
Now, only other concern with that is there's the one that's opening just up the street from this one that is much closer probably to the school, because it's just at the bottom of the hill. So if there was one that hits it, it's probably the one that's already, or is open, or already is open. That's the one that we approved last time on Capitol, just up the road. I would assume that one would be closer than this one. Again, depending on how you're flying, driving, walking, getting there.
Right.
As far, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, for purposes of discussion, review, and approval, again, this type of request of special use does not have requirements of buffering for schools that are not operational.
That answers the question.
Thank you so much. Any additional questions?
Yeah, I have one. So
Yes.
we're discussing the time frame. Say that it does come to be 12 months and it's not done. What happens with the property? We start all over again with them, or?
I'll ask staff to respond to that.
So the special use would essentially at that point would expire. Now, the ordinance as written causes special use permits to expire after 1 year if no action is taken on the item. Obviously, if you pull building permits and you've started work on your project, that counts as action toward that, toward completing the special use. However, what you all would be looking to potentially place on the deadline that you'd be looking to place would be, again, becoming operational. So not just making progress toward it, but actual operational status. So if you choose to place that condition upon this project, if they are not operational by that deadline, the special use would expire.
But if we didn't put that on there, they'd be allowed to be extended. It just has to be, as long as they're working on the building, or they have to be operational. I'm just trying to figure that part out.
Yeah, so the way the ordinance is written right now, it requires them to have made progress toward, to have acted essentially on the special use permit, so pulled building permits and started work on the project. If 12 months elapses and they don't do that, the special use is expired at that point. What you would be looking again to put on, the condition that you would be considering today would not just be for that, but would be for actual operational status. So within 12 months, and if they're not operational, the special use at that point expires.
Can I ask why the difference is on this one? I mean, this is the first time I've seen it, so that we have the 12 months for operational instead of just the regular permit.
I'll turn back over to the staff to talk about the difference.
So let me pull up the section of the zoning ordinance from special uses that
I'm
addresses.
sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on this.
Oh, yeah,
this.
yep.
Yeah, I would say generally it's a special use, it's 1 year. If there's progress done, you could request an additional 6 months. I think that's generally what's in the ordinance right now.
I'm really concerned about your construction, labor and stuff like that. 'Cause in my line of work, I have the same problem getting people to come to work.
Exactly.
So I'm just trying to figure out how this all ends.
Yeah, and that's why I think 4 or 6 months is not really feasible.
I mean, back when we got paid on Fridays and had to show up to pick up our check, everybody came to work. But now times are different.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the ordinance currently states certificates of occupancy for special uses shall be valid for a period established by the City Planning Commission or as long as there is an established and maintained in conformity with the plan submitted and approved. Occupancy permit shall expire after 1 year if the use is not under construction or maintained. For good cause shown and upon written application, the Planning Commission may extend a special use permit for 6 months. So basically, what's on the books right now is that if they've started construction, if they've begun progress on it within the 1 year after they were approved, they're fine to continue with it. The special use is still in effect. If they don't begin construction, they don't begin any progress toward it, at that point, the special use expires. So again, so the difference between that and what you potentially would be imposing today would be actual operational status. So not just the beginning of construction, but actual opening of business.
I mean, I could say that within a 1 year period, if I could understand if a special land use wouldn't be extended or wouldn't be given again.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is
Exactly.
if, say you're not operational in 12 months, sorry, start over. Or if you've made the construction or try to into these times that we're in, should we penalize you or not under this situation? That's what I'm trying to, and I'm just, sorry, this is the first time I'm a new commissioner to this, so please bear with me too. I just want to make it sure it's fair. I would like the other commissioners, if they could comment on that to help me with this decision.
Can staff clarify, please, if it's progress towards completion, then that could qualify for an extension, or how does that work?
So what you could potentially do, if you want to build a little bit more flexibility into it, if you still want to put a condition on it but build some flexibility in, is possibly say, if they're not operational by that date, but if substantial progress has been made, so they've pulled building permits, they've begun progress on the actual construction, the demolition of the interior, the redo of the interior of the building. They've done the items that are listed in their site plan to the exterior, so patch up the parking lot, restriped it, did the fence and the landscaping and those sorts of things. I think you could potentially say, if you were going to put that condition on it, that they could apply for potentially an extension at that point. So say they get to 10 months in and they realize it's still going to be 3 months until they're ready to actually open the doors. You could allow them then to potentially extend it. So you could work that into your motion.
I'll ask our council if that recommendation needs to be amended to the motion that's on the floor.
I think it'd be, a friendly amendment would be appropriate.
That was interesting.
One other thing that I wanted to clarify too, is as a part of the friendly amendment to the motion, that it simply be clarified that the date where the clock starts on this would be from city commission approval, so from final approval of this item, not from today. So.
Thank you for that clarity. I'll ask Commissioner Newman, who made the motion, and Commissioner O'Donnell, I think, who seconded, if they're willing to add that friendly amendment.
I am willing to add that amendment, and to note that the final approval would start the clock of 1 year.
I'm also in agreement to add with the amendment to that, with what I'm understanding is if he can prove that there was some type of reason why he couldn't open after 1 year, he can extend. Is that what?
Yeah, that's what the
Yes.
friendly amendment.
Yep.
Just to clarify on my end, how long would that extension be?
What do we
I'm
normally?
sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, so you said there would be a 1 year in place, and if I were to request an extension, would it be a 6-month extension?
Is that what we normally do, is a 6-month extension?
I believe so with regard to the normal way that a special use permit would be handled, the planning commission may extend it for 6 months. That's what's written into the ordinance. I would say for consistency's sake, if you want to stay with that, simply stay with that. It would have to come before this body again for an extension.
For the extension, correct.
I would, yeah, I mean, the 6 months seem fine. I would just say that he would, I don't know if I can add that in there, he would have to file for the extension before the year is up, though. You couldn't come to us the day after the year and say, I'm sorry, I need a 6-month extension when we'll give you 12 months to get it together.
I believe the ordinance that you must do within 60 days of the expiration of the 1 year, or something close to that, so I could abide by that as well.
Yeah,
So just to clarify, are you supporting the motion, the
yes.
amended motion?
Yes,
Okay.
support the new amended motion.
And the amended motion is for the allowance of a extension, which would start from the approval of the city commission for 1 year if an extension is needed. Is that correct? Can I, okay.
Yep.
No?
Marcel, do you have something?
We're,
Go ahead, you can go and clarify.
Can you restate the amendment motion so we make sure?
Yeah,
we're
so
voting on
what
the
I'm
amendment?
understanding is that the motion right now is to recommend approval with a 1-year deadline following final approval for operational status, with the contingency built in that the applicant can apply within 60 days of the expiration, or 60 days of that deadline, for a 6-month extension if it's needed at that point. And that would then come back before the planning commission.
confirmed.
Confirmed. Wonderful. Then I will ask for a roll call vote on that
Commissioner-
motion with amendment.
Excuse me. Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
No.
Commissioner Morris?
No.
Commissioner Springer?
No.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes. The motion has been defeated. Thank you for your time today. The
you.
motion has not passed, so thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to, so I will close the meeting, the public hearing on that particular permit, and go to special use permit S0223, and ask for a staff report. I mean, not the staff report, I'm sorry, for the clerk when she's ready.
Special use permit S02-23, petition from Elevatus Architecture on behalf of Meyer Incorporated, requesting a special use permit for property located at 2217 West Columbia Avenue for the construction of a building addition to the existing automobile service station. Property is Zone B1, Corridor Commercial District, pursuant to Section 1240.11, Section 1251.05, and Section 1281.05 of the zoning code.
We'll call for the public hearing to be open on special use permit S02-23. Staff report when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. The Meyer gas station is located on the very corner of West Columbia Avenue and Helmer Road. It has access off both of these roads. They're proposing to put a 400 plus addition to the building for restrooms that would be both a men's and women's bathroom. They're also proposing to add a new dumpster enclosure that mimics the facade of the building. The interior restroom that they currently have is 66 square feet, and it's a unisex bathroom. Of course, this would be removed, and the exterior bathrooms would be the main use. They're not proposing any increase in the intensity of the use. The neighboring or abutting properties are all commercial in nature. In the report, there are 3 conditions of approval. They are more standard conditions of approval. The first one is relative to the appropriate agencies that they would require to have additional permits and reviews by. The second one speaks to the occupancy of the building and reviews by the official agents. The third one, again, speaks of any future occupancy that anytime the building would change occupancy, that there would have to be a review. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is the applicant present for this particular agenda item? Thank you. If you could state your name, your address, and your connection to this particular agenda item.
Craig Armstrong, Elevatus Architecture, located at 111 East Wayne Street, Suite 555, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46802, representing Meyer in this particular item.
Thank you. Please proceed.
As the staff report explained, this Meyer tends to go through and renovate their stores every 10 to 12 years. The gas station is usually no exception. When the gas station was originally built, they only included one single-use restroom, and we have found that for the greater good of the public, that offering more facilities for people to relieve themselves is obviously something that's very important to Meyer. So because of the small nature of the building and that it's a convenience store today, which it will remain after we're done, just putting a restroom addition on will help allocate that amount of space for an easier use of the public. Additionally, this is one of the very few gas stations that did not already have a dumpster enclosure. Right now, the dumpster is sitting at the front portion of the parking lot. Meyer is looking to improve the situation by moving it to behind the building and within a dumpster enclosure with a wood slat gate, which we believe is within the ordinance. An exterior facelift of the facade is planned, as well as a rebuild of the fuel canopy, as they got some underground replacements they have to do per the EPA. So building the new canopy will be in kind, and there'll be some color changes and appearances to that. That summarizes the portion of the project that we're seeking. Any questions?
Good, thank you. I'll ask if there's any public comments at this time on this petition. Seeing none, are there any commissioner comments?
I just have a quick one.
Commissioner Newman?
This is not a zoning thing per se, but when you go to file for your building permit, please note that the city of Battle Creek has adopted the 2018 Michigan Plumbing Code. I know you're going to get dinged on that if you don't. So that's the only thing to note.
Thank you. I believe those amendments have been submitted to the online portal with the updated code. If it hasn't, it will be by the end of the week.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Hearing none, I'll call this public hearing closed and entertain a motion.
Support?
Are you motioning with the recommendations of the staff?
Sorry.
I'll make the motion with the recommendations from the staff.
Thank you. It's been moved by by Commissioner Hughes. Is there a support? Oh, I'm sorry, you made the motion? I thought you turned, you made the motion, so are you supporting?
One of us did, yeah. Whatever.
Okay. Because I thought you deferred your motion making to Commissioner Hughes.
Flip a coin.
Okay, so Commissioner Hughes made the motion, and Commissioner Moore supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a roll call vote.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Springer?
Yes.
The motion has passed unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. I wanted to go back to, just for clarity from the council, for those who voted no on the special use permit S0123, do they have to state a reason for the record? Do they have to state a reason for the record
Yes, they do.
according
So
to the conditions?
Yes, I was going to ask that the poll be taken of the members who voted no so that they may have opportunity, for the purposes of the record, to articulate their reasons why or where they disagree with the staff report and the recommendations.
Thank you. Do I need to open public hearing to do that or just state for the record?
I'd go ahead and reopen it. and then have that poll made, and then close that hearing, please.
Thank you very much. I reopen a public hearing for special use permit S01-23 and ask, starting with Commissioner Hughes and just coming down for those who voted no, to state your conditions, please.
If you look at the general special use standards F, I'm not entirely convinced that it will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community.
Thank you. Commissioner Springer?
I didn't like the time frame. I thought that a year with an extension was excessive. I'm doing some personal construction myself. We've got a 12,000 square foot building that should be up in about 3 weeks. I don't think that 12 months with a 6-month extension was appropriate, since they've had 1 year and there's been nothing that I can see done on that project. So I didn't think another 18 months was appropriate.
Thank you. Is that good for the record? Or okay, thank you.
Yes, it is.
Commissioner Morris?
I pretty much agree with both these guys here, so.
So Commissioner Morris, you're taking into account both the comments of Commissioner Hughes and Commissioner Springer for your objection. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I now close the public hearing for special use permit S01-23. Now I'm opening public hearing for special use permit 03-23. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Petition from AECom Technical Services on behalf of New Level Sports Ministries requesting a special use permit for property located at 410 West Van Buren Street for change in use to a child care center, community retail area, and community clinic. Property is zoned T4 Downtown Commercial District pursuant to Section 1240.14, 1281.05.
Thank you. I see the applicant is present. You can come forward, and whoever's speaking for the applicant, state your name, your address, and your connection to the applicant.
Hello, my name is Pierre Robertson. I'm an architect with AECom. Our address is 4219 Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48201.
Thank you. Proceed.
This is a special land use application for the addition of a daycare center or a child care center in the Washington Heights neighborhood. This is one of many developments that are meant to happen with New Level Sports Ministries for the economic development of this neighborhood.
Thank you, and thank you for coming down and being present today. I'll ask if there's any public comments in addition at this time. Seeing none, I will turn to the commissioners. Are there any commissioner comments at this time?
I'm assuming that site plan will be submitted separately?
It will, yep. So what they've submitted here today is their conceptual plan for what the proposed building, or building addition to what's currently there will look like. But the actual site plan review process, yes, will be separate, and they will submit a full site plan for that.
Thank you. Any others?
No. Yeah.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yeah, I'd just like to think that this project's going through in that area of rehabilitation of that area of that part of town. VOS has just opened, or is working on opening a daycare center in the same vicinity, so I think that's going to just help the neighborhood a lot more. So thank you for taking the time to come up with a solution for our city for childcare.
And I will echo that. I am so excited to see more childcare available, especially in the Washington Heights neighborhood, so thank you for that. Also, I'm excited to maybe hear a little bit more about the additional activities that are taking place in addition to the childcare and how that kind of came about. I think you mentioned clothing and some other things. So how does that tie in?
Okay, so this is the first of, I guess, various presentations that we'll have. So it's the first time at Battle Creek, wasn't sure how this would go. So there are a number of things that are happening in this building. There is the Child Care Center, which is probably the bulk of the square footage within the building. There's also a retail and distribution space for gently used clothing. Again, an element for the community. We also have a clinic and a training center that will be within this facility. So a number of things that I think are meant to help with the overall economic prosperity in the area and also to help the individuals in the community and turn things around in that area.
That is so exciting. So thanks for lifting that up and putting that out there. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Anything else?
Sir,
Commissioner Morris?
Sorry. I just want to thank you for coming. You come here with a great idea today, and I love the big old smile you come with.
Thank you.
I do have somebody I want to introduce you to. I think it might help you out a little bit as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing no additional commissioner comments, I will now close the public hearing and ask for a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit 0323 as stated.
Support.
Thank you. It was moved by Commissioner Newman and supported by Commissioner Hughes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Newman?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Springer?
Yes.
The motion has passed unanimously. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is old business. Is there any old business for today?
No old business.
Next on our agenda is new business, which is the election of officers. How would the commission like to proceed?
Our current, who's vice chair?
Chair is Commissioner Godfrey. I'm vice chair.
Gotcha. Unless there is another motion, I would make a motion for that to remain as is. I don't know if we can do that with Commissioner Godfrey gone. No? Can we, it's not table, it's, what's the one that sends it to the next meeting?
Postpone until the next meeting?
You could postpone it to the next meeting, adjourn the matter to the next meeting. Does anyone know whether current chairperson Godfrey wishes to continue serving?
Did he communicate that to the staff with his absence today?
I think, I don't know that we have heard from him whether he intends to continue as chair or not, so we don't really know for sure one way or the other. So I mean, perhaps a motion to postpone might be the best thing for today if you're looking to potentially look to him again.
Seems we need that, so it would be a motion to postpone. I would entertain that motion
To next month's meeting?
to next month's meeting.
I will make a motion to postpone the discussion to next month's meeting.
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Newman and supported by Commissioner Springer to postpone the election of officers to the next meeting. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Now we move on to comments by the public. Are there any additional comments by the public today? Going once, going twice. All right. Oh, we do have one. If you could state your name, your address, and your reason for being with us today.
Yes, hello. My name is Christopher Martin. My address is 32595 42nd Avenue in Paw Paw, Michigan, 49079. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm a new urban planner at Battle Creek Unlimited. I was invited today by Commissioner Hughes, and I just wanted to introduce myself to the city. This is my first weekend, and this is a new role for Battle Creek Unlimited. Really looking forward to working in this community. I have over 12 years' experience in urban planning, priorly working for a regional planning commission in Southwest Michigan, the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. And so we've done some work in the Battle Creek area over the years, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I had an opportunity to meet some of the staff, and hopefully we'll be working together more in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, and welcome to the City of Battle Creek in your new role. Congratulations, and thanks for coming forward. Are there any additional comments from the public? All right, hearing none, I'll move on to comments from staff first. Any staff comments?
Nope, no comment.
I won't call you by name. I'm not seeing any. Okay. Any commissioner member comments? Not hearing any there. This is easy. Then we will be adjourned at, you took my clock down.
4:55.
At 4:55. Thank you.